Generally, when you describe someone as a hypocrite, you're talking about someone that details or outlines or standardizes a type of living for other people, but they don't actually live the way that they preach.
Dear black men, I love you. Cause you mad cause some black girl broke your ugly ass heart like the podcast clown. The podcast clown. I wish the would have tried that with me. Dear black men, I appreciate you. Shove it good and hard and deep in your.
I love this.
Now, before we really get into this conversation, the difficult part about this conversation is that it seems as that if you have any opinion about women today, they will want to cancel you. Now, having opinion with a fan base as large as Nicki Minaj's fan base is going to set you up for a lot of issues, but we must take it there. Without further ado.
Kevin rated me a 9, but guess what? That 7.5 or that 9. And this is not about Kevin, because he actually was very respectful on the show when I spoke to him. All you niggas that do that, y'all can take those ratings and shove it up your shove it good and hard and deep in your.
A good black woman can control her mouth. She don't cuss in public.
Like, I don't ever want a man to come back on this internet and talk about some lace from. Who the I think y'all talking to?
And then here's the really good one. They'll come up and they'll have on a weave. They have on false eyelashes, another whole face, false fingernails, and all of that. And then they'll say, but I'm looking for a real man.
That's a conversation you have for your woman behind closed doors. Y'all feel like y'all can constantly disrespect black women? Get the out of here.
The good black woman has self-respect. She don't have to go out naked just to get the attention of a man.
And the more clothes a woman take off, the more desperate she is. That don't mean she bold and brave and want to get with somebody. That means she's desperate, and that's a cry. Please give me some attention. Please look at me. Say something. Do something. That's what that is. And that's the condition of many of us. That's not anything that's an insult.
Who the I think y'all talking to?
We're talking reality. We have got to deal with the reality of our lives so that we can make corrections. But making up all of this stuff and then have them conferences where ain't nothing but black women.
So if Nicki Minaj is making lyrics respective to women taking their panties off, or men that sell contraband and then pop bottles in the club to then get them panties off, and then the average man creates platforms in order to speak about the inadequacies that we see within the culture, then tell me, Nicki, how can you seriously complain about the world that you helped create? Is it that you're special or above critique? Or is it that you think that we are below intelligence?
That's a conversation you have for your woman behind closed doors. Y'all feel like y'all can constantly disrespect black women? Get the out of here.
So I gotta ask as well, because I think you're familiar with this section of YouTube of men now voicing their opinion of their relationships with the black woman. So I just gotta hear your thoughts of the information that you've seen thus far.
Well, we have to be careful with that, especially when it's coming from men. I think that a lot of men who are talking about us as black females out here have a little bit more ulterior motives, even though a lot of their points, some of them are good. But some of the men sound like they have either been turned down by a woman or turned out by a man. And I'm not sure which one it is yet. So I just listen and just see. But it comes around, as I said, about every generation.
Because you mad because some black girl broke your ugly ass heart like the podcast clown. The podcast clown. I wish the would have tried that with me.
And I find it very interesting, in fact, a bit perplexing, as to someone of her influence who rised in popularity on the backbone of shitting on modern men today is so angry in watching the content in a space that is speaking about the things that they want to see out of women. It's almost as if the decades of speaking about what a man has in his bank account or his big D energy has glossed over your eyes to understand that you're not above criticism as well.
Who the f I think y'all talking to?
We're talking reality.
Black women, can we stop talking about if black men, if these successful black men want us or not? Like, can we just focus on us and we be successful, and then we go out there and we decide who the f we want? Well, I want black women just to focus on themselves, be successful, and then you go out there and you decide the trajectory of your life.
You know we're lonely and desperate. We just don't want anybody to know it. So we hide behind our big job, our big car, our credit card, and all those different things. But listen, we are lonely, and I'm going to tell you what a lonely woman won't do. Y'all can have anybody you want because everybody's available, okay? And all of this about, I don't want no man unless he got a good credit rating, unless he right with the Lord, and all of this foolishness that we have made up to explain why we are not with a man.
Fourth wave feminism has created a society where this shit is just normal, where you can legitimately slander men, okay? You can cancel men, right? You can judge men based off of some unrealistic, delusional standard for income. And no one bats an eye. No one gives a shit. And we look at the male suicide rate and we wonder if that judgment is helping them get to that decision.
Now, do you think a man can have sex 3 times a night for the rest of his life? Because it's not only about you. I want to put it on the person. I don't give a shit.
So many of us have the values so messed up that we actually think that good sex means it's a good relationship.
Uh-oh.
A lot of the sexual activities in our community are so rampant in all of the age groups. The most difficult thing, now hear this because this is serious, the most difficult job we have is to protect our children from premature sexual arousal. Okay? Because the society is so swamped with sexual innuendo, sexual suggestion, sexual pictures, activities, and they even have our little girls. I'm talking about 3 and 4 and 5 years old, gyrating, doing pelvic thrusts, doing all of this stuff on that claiming it's dancing, like that little vulgar song by Cardi B.
Uh-oh.
I want to put it on the person. I don't give a shit.
People are on there with their children. The little girls have memorized that. They singing it. They dancing to it. They doing gyrations like adults in strip clubs. They are making faces like adults, women. This is not good. It's really bad, you know, but those are some of the things that are going on that we are teaching our children as if it was fun.
Y'all feel like y'all can constantly disrespect black women?
The good black woman has self-respect. She don't have to go out naked just to get the attention of a man.
Do you hold yourself accountable for any of it?
Yes. And I used to say, well, because I was one of the first people saying, oh, I'm not these people's parents. Superstars inadvertently become role models, no matter what. Mm-hmm. You can be the weirdest druggie in the world. If they like your music, they're listening to it over and over and over. It's programming. And they might try some of those things they hear you talk about.
Who the f I think y'all talking to?
We're talking reality.
It's clear that there's not a care, there's not an empathy for the other side of the coin. I mean, shit, she openly admits within the clip that I played that these fans inadvertently become photocopies of superstars.
But you can't fault an artist. See, that's the thing. Just because you say you are a role model, we are role models. It's like, how can you tell a rapper you're bad because you rap about that? And you didn't clarify in your music what drugs or how much drugs or what, you know. It's art.
I don't ever want a man to come back on this internet and talk about some lace from. Who the f I think y'all talking to?
We're talking reality.
What's so interesting is that the term of being a hypocrite is so widely and unevenly given out to different people from a pop culture perspective. But the fact of the matter is that Nicki Minaj is highly influential.
Y'all feel like y'all can constantly disrespect black women?
Meaning that people will look at her as a standard of living. But I find it so interesting today that so many modern women will look towards influences like this that are very different or are at some components of a statistical outlier of how they live or how much money that they bring in, but they still don't even bear to look at the results within their life to determine, is this what I actually want? But this is why conversation like this is so important, because we are the only culture that takes the most negative aspects of our culture and allows them to practice their art without formal critique as well as criticism. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Last but not least, guys, I got a Patreon. If you guys are interested in being involved in my inner circle, my MT Army, there's a link down in the description box down below. I got the best Patreon on this side of the internet. We have a whole back community of almost 1,000 people working on increasing their value and becoming the best versions of themselves that they possibly can. If you want to get in a network and a community of awesome, like-minded people, y'all already know where to find me. Until next time, YouTube. Peace!